That's probably gonna tear up my poor band-aid though, as much as I would like to. I think that thing is doom. Yeah, I like that. So zooming, right there. Yeah. Hello. Chat filter. Oh yeah, let's get all. Leverage is a pain. Leverage is a pain. Yep. Put that there. Hello. Oh, autumn effect at MKDF. My weekends are pretty much packed for the rest of the year, unfortunately. That's the location or origins of the rapier. I would. Wonder who truly has the claim to that. I mean, it kind of depends on like if you wanted to go off of who used the word first, I guess. But then there's no guarantee that whoever wrote down the word is even the first person to write down the word. The tricky one. This is a rapier. It doesn't look much like a rapier, but it is one, I assure you. Finding tricks. Oh, finding is that tricky little thing because it's knowing when you have the line without necessarily having that feedback of a bind, and that's tricky to communicate. It's sort of about getting a position where you like if you kind of like freeze frame and you can kind of compare. Right now I've got this. I've found the blade at this point. We're not in contact. The blades aren't touching. I still got space. But if I extend a thrust now, it'll gather the weak of their blade onto the strong of mine. Whereas, let's say, where do I want to put this? Yeah, here I don't have it. This is not good for me. This is bad. So once again, we're not in contact. And I do have a thrust here. There is a thrust I could do, but I am not in a good place to use it. Because right now, I am too far down their blade. So their strong's right here. My weak's there. And so while I have a thrust that I could throw, what's more likely to happen is that they're going to scoop. It's kind of hard to demonstrate with this thing, but they're going to scoop my point aside and assert their own point. That's the more likely outcome there. So I have not secured dominance first. So just because you have a direct line to them does not mean that you have found their sword. Finding the sword's a little more nuanced than just getting the line, and not just any line, right? Like I can, oh look, I have a line. Sure. I mean, why would I make that trade though, right? So it's finding their swords about getting that, getting something like this, where I am in a position where the moment, maybe this is the way to put it, getting a position to where the moment they say go, like if I go here and I freeze frame, if we freeze frame it, did I drop? Oh, that was something from above. If we can get to a position and like a coach goes like freeze, and you both freeze. If the moment they say go, if the coach says go, and you both go in that instant, one of you dies, and it's trying to make sure that you're not the one that dies in that moment. If you can get to that positioning, and the other thing is just not having touched. You have to get that position without having touched their blade either, because it's all in the setup. Getting there, and they say go, and you get them, or I catch the big fat tip of that sword on my guard. That can also happen. You have the problem that your friend always snipes your legs, but you're not nimble enough to always get out of reach and too weak to actually stop their slashes. How do you solve that? I mean, the unpleasant answer is to practice your footwork more. That's, I mean, like, work your leg slips. Just drill leg slips. I don't do it. That's always been a weakness of mine. Is we don't like. I mostly do longsword stuff, and as a club with doing longswords, we don't do a lot of leg shots. And so my leg game's a little weak, but is if you are getting tagged on the leg, you aren't practicing your leg slips enough. Practice them more. That is ultimately the quickest, fastest remedy to this problem is simply practice slipping your leg more. You know, get your leg shots. Just get a friend to just sit there and practice, like going like 1, 1, 1, 2. Ooh, hit the tree. But 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, right? And just have them sit there and just hammer those in. You're getting the head, because you throw in the headshots to keep you honest, so that you don't know when the two's coming. You know, they go 1, ooh, 1, 2. So what you're doing there is you're going parry, parry, parry. Oh, 2 comes, hit, parry, parry, parry. Oh, here comes the 2, boom, hit. That's like my best. That'll reduce the number of leg shots they get on you, and then just make the game harder. So give them more opportunities to mix it up how they go for that leg, but just hammer it in, just practice over and over, just getting that leg slip, because that's your number one defense against the leg shot, is to just pull the leg away, because it sets you up for so much. Because I can pull my leg away and cut and return, pull back, boom. Or I mean, if they're really going for the leg, thrust, right? I don't have to draw up. So you see the draw up and the retreat, because it basically covers you. You're rather than gambling that you've picked high or low correctly, you just do both, right? So this is me saying, maybe they're going to attack my head, maybe they're going to attack my leg. I don't want them to hit either, so I withdraw both. I parry for my upper body. So I do a hanging parry for my upper body. I withdraw my lower body. That blocks everything. But if you're confident, rather than going 1, 2, you just go 1. You pull your leg back and extend a thrust right at them as they come at you. Or alternatively, you pop them on the head, whatever you want. Your choice. As you get more confident, you just pull the leg and just whack them on the head. Because if they're cutting for your leg, their head's in range. It's going to be in range. Yeah. Oh boy. Trying to get a nice training longsword, you have a budget from $40 to $60. That's a bit low. That's a bit low. You might be able to snag some okay synthetics. So, like at that price point, you're looking for secondhand. I think you could probably score a secondhand synthetic longsword. That'll do okay for that. But you're gonna need to hunt, you know, like a HEMA marketplace or something like that. Or you just get a stick. I mean, you get a stick. That's pretty cheap. And I don't even mean that as like a smug thing. Like literally, like, you know, if you're at that price point, anything sword shaped is already going to be a bit of a compromise. So you can just go full budget and just get a longsword sized stick and use that. Or I mean, or just like if you really want something that's longsword shaped, you can get like a wooden longsword. You can't practice on against another person very well with it. It's those things don't flex and they hit hard. But if you're just trying to do solo stuff, uh, just get a wooden waster. Works all right. Let's see here. What do you want to look for in your opponent for to deal control of that moment in freeze frame? Oh, ideal control of the. So when we're talking about that freeze frame moment, it's all about relative sword positions and then where they are and where you are, which is super vague and not helpful. I realize. The short of it, when we're talking about trying to find their sword and then freeze frame in that moment, it's a question of, let me turn it this way. Oh, I'm getting choppy. What is getting choppy? Eee. What are we doing on power? This is going to be a fairly short stream. I don't have a lot of juice. I don't have a lot of light either, for that matter. All right, so one thing that's going to matter here is relative positions of the swords. So this is a very neutral position. We are mid blade on mid blade. There's no advantage. Weak, mid, weak on strong, weak on their strong, or I guess, wait, strong on weak, weak on strong. There we go. That's an easier way to say this. Strong on weak, weak on strong. This is bad. This is good. And so that's one component of this freeze frame that we're looking for. Another component that we're looking for. Generally, over is better than under. We like being over. We can do stuff from under, but we don't like it very much. We like to be over if we can be over. This is the best. If we can get on top of, if we can get strong on weak over, this is very good. This is super good. Strong on weak, even as far as, you know, no swords on top of the other. It's still good for us. We can work with this. That's fine. But they could try to work over us. So our optimal, when we're trying to get that find position, our optimal stuff is when we get strong near the weak over their sword. And of course, the final piece is where our point is. Because being strong over weak with our point out there doesn't do us quite as much good as we'd really like. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility that we can make something work from there. Because we have 2 out of the 3 things going for us. So the next step would be to angle the point in. But the three elements we're looking for is dominant position of leverage, strong to weak, dominant over position of their sword, and the third final piece is point on target. So those are the 3 conditions in summary that we're really looking for when we're trying to set up this finding the sword scenario. There we go, that's more like it. So get over the sword, strong by their weak, point at their face, we freeze frame. Mutirin and Duplirin. Ooh, yeah, I love those. I love Mutirin and Duplirin. I will. Let me, perfectly normal human being. I will do that, but let me just check the chat. Oh boy, which one would I choose in Dark Souls 1? Probably just a long pointy stick, I guess. Is there any historical precedent for holding sword out to the back and right of it? I assume you mean like this? Then yeah, that's just Nebenhut or Posta Dakota Longa, I believe. I don't do a lot of the Italian longsword, but I think that's Posta Dakota Longa. Please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, sword, band-aid coming off, sword back there, because then we can go, woo, or catch my, there, I need to put on battery saver. Uh-oh. Let's see. Yeah, I know there's a fake person impersonating me. Fortunate. I'm not aware of banning his axe from Darkest Dungeon. I'm still remembering the question, perfectly normal human. Any good tells to watch for when someone is trying to find you? The same thing, right? They're trying to work that or lure you. If so, you have to, that's one that comes with experience, is knowing when you're being lured somewhere, because they might be giving you bait. They might intentionally be letting you find them because they're planning to instantly, like, they might be sitting there like offering an opportunity for you to find them, and the moment you cross into that position where you will have found their sword, they immediately disengage and take what's offered there. So that's something you might need to watch out for. Okay, I feel like we are okay. That's good enough. All right, I'm going to circle back to the question about Duplirin and Mutirin. Oh yeah, that was a good. Dominic had a good point. I completely left out edge on flat. I forgot that part. Yes, edge on flat is also good. Edge on flat is kind of hard for me to demonstrate why. Swords flexi. Yeah, swords flexi on flat. Sword flexi on flat. Sword not flexi on edge. That's kind of the short of that. So if I can get edge, if I get my not flexi part on their flexi part, I can sit there and kind of bully that space more, especially on longer swords like a rapier. Rapiers, if you can get on their flexi part with your not flexi part, you can just kind of like, so if they start to push, they just like, if you, here, maybe I can show this. So if I'm, right now I'm edge on the not flexi part on the flexi part. And if they try to push, the sword bends. You can't put as much juice into that. So you're gonna feel it. You feel it really strongly when you are in when you're trying to start, when you're kind of like playing around at this distance, you really feel the lack of. I don't know if you can see it from here, but like watch my. Keep an eye on where my sword is. Now watch as I push. Look at that. Do you see that the bend? Like my tip hasn't really moved, my hilt has. And now that's a problem. But if I turn my edge, it stays. Very useful. Important. Really important when we're talking about really flexible training swords. Less significant an issue with stiffer real swords, but still a factor all the same. This shirt is from Hemates. I'm so sorry, perfectly normal human. I need to answer your question. I think yes. Okay, we're gonna do Duplirin and Mutirin with oh yes, yeah, that Duplirin and Mutirin. That would be the doubling and the mutating. Mutation, doubling and mutating. Duplirin, doubling. So Duplirin is an act where we have essentially done our first cut, we do our second cut. Or alternatively, we do our first cut. I keep catching on my gun. second cut. I'm going to take the gun away. First cut, second cut. So which you do depends on what they do. The first thing that remains the same is that we have to actually make contact. So the first cut doesn't really change. We go, I'm going to cut you, and you go cut. And if they get hit, they get hit. That's the end. No deployment required at that point. But let's say we've been parried. We now have a moment of fueling or feeling. This is where we are feeling how much pressure they're giving us. If they are giving us no pressure, and we're like, wah, then we simply cut them from the bind. Because they're weak on the, like, maybe we've ended up like, maybe they parried like really, really bad out there and they're like all the way there and on their strong or whatever. And we have this moment, we're like, oh, I've got this. So rather than lifting off and cutting around, we're like, why would I ever do that? I can just hit them. But we don't want to go straight in because, even if we have it, if I go straight in, uh-oh, I don't want that. That's bad. So rather than go straight in, even though we have the strength, we're going to turn our strong, once again, putting our edge towards their flat, right? So we're going strong there, edge to the flat, and we're going to cut with our false edge, or whatever the edge was. Like, if we did it with we did a false edge cut to start, we can do a long edge. That's getting more complicated than we need to right now. Let's save that for later. Ultimately, we cut. They're weak. We turn our edge. Now note that I have flipped my edge. It's now my short edge against their flat. And we are pushing through and striking with our edge. So that's the second. So we've done two cuts. We've done one cut, two cut. That's the doubling. We doubled. We went 1, 2. And that's if they're weak. What if they're strong? So you can actually do both. You can kind of like do like you can do like a double and a half, which is a good way to do this because you can force them to give you the second option. So, but I'm going to circle back to that one too. So we start here. We have done our first cut. They've parried. If they were weak, we would do the doubling that way. But let's say they're strong and they go push, 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 push. They've pushed us out here. We can, of course, cut around. That's an option. They've pushed all the way out there. They're not threatening us with, the important thing here is that they are no longer threatening us with their point. They were threatening us with the point when they were weak. So we had to be very mindful of the fact that there was a point in our face. That's why we push them out to the side and get the hit. In the strong scenario, they have pushed us out. So their point is going that away. It's not, we're not afraid of this anymore. That is gone. So we could come off and cut around. That's a perfectly valid option, but that's not the doubling, because the doubling is like, that's great and all, but I kind of want to just hit you as you're pushing me. So as we feel them going strong against us and pushing us out of the way, we say, fine, okay, you can push me all you want. I'm going to rotate into this space, and as you push my sword away, you all see where this is going. As you push the sword away, you're going to push my sword into your face, and that's the doubling against the strong is there. Everyone's like, well, aren't you going to get stabbed in the face? Again, important. They're pushing us away, so we make that contact. We start to we feel them pushing strong against us. We yield to the push. We turn our blade over. They're pushing this way. We cut through. They push our blade into their face, and we cut them. That's the double. Now for the 2.5 double is we need them to push us to get that second double. We need them to be strong against us, and maybe they're not being strong against us. But a good way to make them strong against us is that we do the weak double. So we get into our bind, and we start to throw the weak double. They don't want to get hit by that. So what do? They push, and we do the strong double. So you go opening action, you try the soft, they don't like it, hard. Let me try to set this up so it looks a bit more like one, hit, hit. One, try it, no. Try it. Non-response. Duplaren. Hopefully that's sufficient. Duplaren. You can do it with like anything too. You can do it with I could do it with a rapier, right? I could go one that way. So they could be pushing. Or they could be weak. I could go one. They push. Other way. Duplaren. It doesn't matter. It can be one-handed sword, two-handed sword. Doesn't matter. I can do it with both. Additionally, from further away, you can do this as a thrust, which is really likely to happen with a rapier. So if we're doing this in a thrusting context, I can double the thrust. So I can, maybe I've done the first thrust or whatever, and we've entered some sort of neutral position. I feel that they're weak. I turn and thrust. Bug on my leg. Alternatively, I start to do that. They push me out that way. So they push that way, and I go, fine. I will stab this way. So you can double the thrust too. Let's see. Mutating. Mutation. The mutation is, goodbye, son. It's behind the house now. The mutation is going from high to low. This one's a little hard to do with a dummy because I need them to be doing something else. I guess I could also go low to high. I don't like that though. No, that doesn't feel right. Trying to think of how to best do this. Can I get that higher? No, that won't be higher. I could get it higher that way. Let's try that. Yeah, now we're cooking. That works. That'll do. This is the more textbook positioning. So we've, that's maybe a bit high. It works. Yeah, it works. So basically, mutating is mutation. So what often happens is you'll get into this sort of position here, where you've both kind of gone strong, and so you could disengage and cut. But what you can do is mutate down and get into that space there. So the mutation is just going, so right now I am low, and I am inside. I go up, over, outside, in, like that. Let's see if that shows. Like that. So that's we have mutated. So low bind, up, over, mutate down. I'll do it slowly. So we're here. They've done we're in some sort of bind situation. I go up. I have so many guard pieces on this sword. I go over. I bring it down, in. And you target like whatever, right? I'm going really low with it. You don't have to go that low. It usually ends up, yeah, about there. So you usually end up targeting kind of the abdomen, lower abdomen. That was a little too strong. I went too strong on that. Yeah. The important part, of course, is not getting stabbed in the tummy yourself. So if you notice when I'm doing it, I'm kind of working my way out. With a normal crossguard, you can entrap their blade too. Yeah, like this. So you see here, I've got the blade entrapped between my blade and the cross. So there isn't actually a risk of it traversing in because it's locked within my sword. So the angle is basically set at that point, and I have control over it. So that's one of the occasions where a normal crossguard is actually better than a complex crossguard, because you can do that kind of thing and really lock it in. But the advantages of having the extra rings usually work out pretty well for you. So it's not necessarily a straight win, because I do create an interesting angle here. So they're trapped up against my ring, which is neat. Ah, welcome, Martin. Thank you. I like these pants. With targeting the generally limited to the legs. No, yeah. So it's not. I assume that probably came in before I changed my instruction, but no, there's no There's no like. I mean, you could thrust it at the throat, honestly. Like, there's nothing, no hard limits to where the mutating can land. I find that most of the time it ends up hitting in that pelvis area, just as a matter of course. And if they respond to the fact that you're doing it and they try to push it away, it usually ends up in the groin, which is not great for them. They usually regret that decision. But yeah, you can do that. And also, I think I got sidetracked, but yeah, moving offline while you do it can help protect you from getting doubled at the same time. Do you want to step out to the side as you do it, and that works out to your benefit typically. Oh, we have a what? Brask. Go-to sword and fashion channel. Thank you. It's a bit of an interesting duality there, isn't it? Ugh. Oh, that is the wrong one. I don't want that one loose. I want this one loose. Yeah, that feels good. I like that. That works. Oh yeah, 120. That sounds about right. You won't. I wouldn't. Purple Heart's good. I would say Purple Heart works out for most things. Let's see here. Oh boy, this is moving. Oh, 8% battery left. Oh no. This might be the end of the stream here. I'm at 8%. I have lost a lot of battery and not a lot of time. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. Okay. Let me pick something. I'm just gonna go till it kaputs here. That was an interesting question. I'm gonna where to go. So for striking from a kendo background, oh yeah, where the stables go. Had asked this a couple times. I do deserve to see. Any tips for it? It's a hard. That's a hard. I haven't gotten to this one because it's kind of a hard question to answer because it's so general. Meyer Square. Like worst case scenario. That's always like my. If I have nothing else to suggest, look up Meyer Square. That's honestly not a bad way to go for learning your sword, your cut. Like that's something that can be done on your own. You don't need a partner for it. You can just do it. Just look up Meyer Square, Meyer Square. There are like a gajillion drills that are derivative from that. Just that's a good place to start. Striking from a kendo background, you want to know my opinion? Sliding your hand from the crossguard to the pommel as a surprise thrust as you do it with touch. I suppose my question would be why bother sliding the hand, right? Like, so you're saying slide the hand back, but if it's a two-handed sword, you've already got a hand back there. So that's usually what we see is you just let go of with your lead hand and you just boom with the backhand. That works really well, right? Because it gives you a ton of reach. Because if I thrust two-handed, I've got that much reach, but look at how much I gain. Look at that, boom. That's the maximum reach I can get while like being like nice and structured. Boom, so much more reach. It is significant. Maybe I can demonstrate here. Yeah, I mean you can see the difference there. Boom. But yeah, you just let go with your lead hand. Thrust out, pull it back. Because if you do that, then you can just withdraw it into your hand. You don't have to like do a like switch up when it comes back, right? You don't have to. I mean, you could do it, I guess. Like if you wanted to, I guess you could shoot it through and pull it back that way. And then if something goes wrong, I suppose you have it in your strong hand, but yeah. And of course, you can also set this up with the passing step to really get distance. Ow, what the? Something just really got me. Ouchie. Well, I'm going to keep an eye on that thumb. What was that? Hopefully that doesn't go bad. When your chair show up into plays where your opponent goes something by. I mean, yeah, if I'm trying to remember the exact context of that mutating, the wording used. Unfortunately, I wish I had a book with me handy. So I would use a battery pack, except that my mic goes to the same. It's the same port. I mean, I guess I could probably find a splitter or something. I don't know how well that would work out. Yeah, I have a custom Spez jacket. I like it well enough. They've got a pretty big operation. It turns around pretty fast. I've heard complaints of the fit before. Mine fits fine, but I am Mr. Generic Average, and I fit almost exactly into their medium jacket. Like my dimensions are almost exactly the middle of their medium jacket. So I am the middle of middle. That's how generic my proportions are, at least as far as my torso is concerned. Yeah, I just fit into a completely stock standard medium. So I don't think my custom jacket had anything weird going on. But I have had other people order custom jackets from them that the sizing got weird. So best of luck. It might work out for you, might not. I've generally heard issues with their custom fittings in the past. I would, if you think a stock jacket will fit you well enough, it might be worth just going with that. What do you think about thrusting from Zornhut? I like it. It's hard in jackets. I love it conceptually because it's like all you have to do is lift and you're there. Right? Like you can be here, lift up, boom. It worked great when there's nothing on your head, because you need clearance to be able to do this. You need to be able to go like whoop and do it. As soon as you put on a fencing mask, it gets really hard because you have to go like up and over your head, and that's not fun. It doesn't work very well. Of course, you can also just like you could do a like cut thrust. That's fine. That works. It's a lot of distance to travel though. I don't often thrust forward like that with thrums. I don't usually throw it out, but I mean, it could still work, especially if you're trying to scoop around, right? Because you're primed up like you're gonna whammo, and then you do it, and then you flick it around, and you kind of sturts your way in. That has promise. I think that could get you somewhere. Pistol. I haven't even used the pistol yet. I should probably do that before the stream, before the battery dies. Yeah, you get a pistol shot in the. Yeah, pistol shot. Yep. Pistol. Rubber band pistol. Bang. I've seen a little bit of Seke Sensei. I've never think to actually do I think to do a response video, and then by the time I actually get around to it, it's been way too long, and then I don't do it. You're gonna get a sword for practice. Should I get a double edge or triangular edge? Probably not a triangular edge for practice. Probably not. Oh, there it goes. All right, that's it. Bye, everybody. I just told the phone it was going to shut down. Bye. Sorry. That's all the juice we have. Till next time. Goodbye, phone.